My throat made a noise.
You mean
Hello.
you burped?
Hello, and welcome to Horror Rewind. I'm Kelly Florence.
And I'm Meg Hofdahl. It was great, you guys.
Well, I'll keep it in if you want.
No, let it all out.
This episode also sponsored by Miller Lite.
Yeah, the last week was too. Okay.
Hi.
Hi, Kelly. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. You know what we haven't talked about?
What?
The X-Files.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So actually, this is really important in our lives. Meg and I met because of the X-Files. I was wearing an X-Files t-shirt, and I was in the store where Meg worked, and she said, "Hey, I like your shirt." And I'm like, "Oh, are you an X-Files fan?" We started talking. We exchanged numbers.
The rest is history.
Yes. We became fast friends because of this show, and we have matching tattoos of the X-Files X because of this show.
And you introduced me to my husband because he
because
liked
he
the
was an
X-Files.
X-Files fan.
Yeah.
So it's all...
It's a big deal.
It's so amazing. And so...
A while back, they announced Season 11!
And, okay, they did this little thing not too long before that about how on Audible there's going to be these X-Files episodes. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh no, is this in replacement of new actual
Yeah.
episodes on Fox? And isn't it going to be more than 6 episodes this time?
They said 10 or 10, I think.
Yes.
I mean, I'll take anything, but I'm so excited because they left it on a cliffhanger in season 10.
And that's
you
the
guys.
worst.
Yeah.
Okay, if you haven't seen the X-Files and you're a horror fan, you need to watch it because it's not just about aliens. There's so many great standalone monster episodes. Do you have a favorite?
Oh my God, a favorite episode? That's so hard because there's so
I mean,
many
a favorite
different
monster
types.
episode.
Oh, a different type of... Postmodern Prometheus, maybe? Or...
I really like The Host.
Oh, the host. That's a good, monster. You know, he kind of makes me think of a graboid from Tremors a little bit. Because
Oh.
of his mouth a little bit.
We are talking about Tremors this week.
Yeah. X-Files is so good, you guys. It's on Netflix, all the seasons, I think, right? Or not?
I think it's
Actually,
off
you know what?
now.
It's off because we actually had to lend somebody our, the last couple seasons DVDs. I don't know what they were watching it on, though. But
It's off of Netflix right now. But
so
streaming comes and goes, but we can hope it'll come back on again.
You guys need to watch it, though. It's so good.
So yes, we're excited for that.
Yes. Okay.
Now, okay, Tremors. Can I make a confession, everybody? You won't tell anybody, will you?
No.
I've never seen Tremors before this.
What?
I know.
Kelly, what?
I don't know why. I just never did. Really. This was the first time I ever saw Tremors in my life.
I'm so shocked. I just assumed that you had.
I never had. And I didn't tell you.
My
I thought
gosh,
I thought I would save that information for this moment.
I mean, we can hear the shock in my voice, I think. Oh my gosh, really? It's so what I was going to say about Tremors is that I don't remember a time in my life before Tremors.
Oh. And there's so many Tremors movies too.
Right. Well, and I mean, they're not,
we won't go there.
We won't go. I mean, yeah, there are 4 sequels. I've seen a couple of them and they're fine, but the first one's best. So Tremors came out in 1990, so I was 6. I didn't see it in the theater, but I remember watching it with my parents. My parents really like horror comedies, and I just remember having such a warm, good family time watching Tremors, and then I watched it. Oh my God, I've seen it so many times since then. So the original name for it was Land Sharks.
Oh,
which I thought was interesting.
You know, that's ironic because I was watching this with my 10-year-old and he said this is like Jaws on land.
Oh, funny. You'll have to tell him that. Yeah, it was originally called Land Sharks.
And that's also what used to be a SNL bit. So it's a good thing that they changed that.
Oh, the shark thing with that's some retro SNL for you guys. Okay. Prior to the release, apparently Kevin Bacon was worried about his career and about this movie, and he said, quote, "I broke down and fell to the sidewalk, screaming to my pregnant wife, I can't believe I'm in a movie about underground worms." But then the good news was it actually was rated very high, and it's 85% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, and it did very well, too. So it was a modest success, they said. So it actually ended up being a pretty good thing for his career, and he had nothing to worry about. I noticed when I was watching it that it was produced by Gail Ann Hurd, who is a producer for The Walking Dead, and
Very
she's
cool.
on Talking Dead quite a bit.
Nice.
So apparently, and also apparently there was a Tremors show.
Really?
It said in 2003. There's 13 episodes.
You know, that sounds familiar, but
yeah, I know. I think it was maybe on the Sci-Fi Channel. But also, they just announced Tremors 6 with Jamie Kennedy, who apparently was in the last one. I did not see Tremors 5. I gave up a while ago. But Michael Gross, who is in every movie, it will be in 6. And apparently it takes place in a remote Arctic research facility.
Oh, good.
So, yeah, Tremors 6, January 2018, it'll be out. So, okay. So
Kevin Bacon was looking good.
Oh, my God, I wrote... Where are my notes? Because I want to look at what I wrote. Kevin Bacon, 2 exclamation points.
Oh,
now we all know.
Were you in love with him
from that movie? Yes. Yeah. I've never seen anything else that I was in love with him though.
Yeah, no, I can't think of. Well, and I was never in love with him because I didn't see this movie.
Because you hadn't seen Tremors.
So I'm sorry, Kevin Bacon. I would never loved you, but I played 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon a lot.
Well, yes, as we all have. But yeah, no, this movie, because I like cowboys. I can't help it. And he's just so cute and young and blonde in this.
I mean, he's reminiscent of Brad Pitt and Thelma and Louise.
Yeah. Ooh. Can we watch that movie just for that? That counts, right, guys? Okay.
Okay. And this is.
I'm like so excited to hear like your thoughts because you haven't seen it.
Now, I mean, my notes on this are strange and scattered because I've never seen it. I was watching it so much I would forget to take notes, but
okay, that's good.
I wrote down beautiful scenery and good jump scares because a lot of times the jump scares don't scare me in movies or they don't make me jump because it's like you see it coming. Yeah. But this actually was like, oh, that was surprising. I didn't expect that.
Oh, good. Yeah. I think too what I was thinking when I was watching it is how different the tone right away is of like compare it to like a Shining.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Dead, where it's like the tone in this is so like lighthearted right away. And
yeah, it's
like
fun.
This beautiful scenery and like they're joking and laughing. And also, can I just say like their friendship's really cute.
Oh, I love them. Yeah.
They were just like, how many movies really though are just about like 2 guy friends?
Yeah.
And they were like arguing about like should they bring a vacuum cleaner when they move? Like it was really cute.
They were really cute.
I liked their relationship.
And you know, the other thing that's really unique about this setting is that it's in a wide open space. And it's like, what's scary about that?
That's true.
But it is.
That's true because we don't think of the desert a lot when we're thinking of like horror because there's like nowhere to hide.
Yeah, it's like, but it is scary.
Yes, that's a good point.
So I know this has been said in memes a lot, but quicksand seemed like it was going to be much more of a problem when you became an adult because all these movies they have quicksand in them and you're like, oh, when this happens, like I need to know what to do.
Right.
And I know it's not necessarily quicksand because these worms have dug these holes, but
they got that guy.
Yeah, they totally got him.
Yeah, they got him, and the wife was trying to. Is that who you're thinking of?
Yeah, I am.
And then they get the whole car.
Right.
They got the whole car.
That was so good.
I like
that. And I wrote down poor horse, so they must have gotten a horse too.
Yeah, they did. They were like all wrapped around the horse and like, I wrote that too. I said, oh no, the horse.
Oh hey, did you recognize? I mean, I have not seen this movie, but the little girl from Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
did you remember that, or did you know that?
I remember that she was the girl from Jurassic Park, and I was like, she looks so familiar. And then I of course went down my IMDb hole, and I was like, oh my god, it's the girl from Jurassic Park. So yeah, she's in this movie, the little girl in this movie, and she's even younger than she is in Jurassic Park. So that was kind of fun.
And what's the main woman's name?
The actress's name is Finn Carter. I can't remember her name.
The scientist.
Yeah.
She's a strong female character.
I know. And I was watching it and I was like, no wonder I appreciated this movie because there's that great part where he's like, before he meets her, he knows there's a scientist, and he's like, oh, I want her to be
to
have
look
long
like
legs
this,
and blonde and, you know, big boobs and all this. And he sees her and it's kind of like, oh, I guess she doesn't look like that, you know, wah, wah. But then, of course, he falls in love with her anyway.
Yeah, I love that.
She's so focused. She's not focused on him. She's focused on her career, and I just love
she's strong. She knows stuff. She takes care of herself.
Yes.
She actually is smarter than them in a lot of ways. Well, many ways.
Yeah.
But, you know, she can... She knows the right thing to do, and I love it. She doesn't need anybody to save her.
And as I was going down this IMDb hole, I'm bringing this all back. She was married to Steven Weber, apparently. So
Oh
I'm
my
bringing it back to The
gosh.
Shining of a couple of weeks ago. I thought that was random.
Oh, can I talk about some product placement in 1990 Tremors?
Yeah.
Virginia Slims. We don't advocate
Oh.
smoking, but they were Virginia Slims, Gatorade, Crush, and Pepsi were featured
Oh, I
heavily in
remember
several
Pepsi.
scenes.
I don't remember the other ones. They didn't like hit me as hard.
They stood out to me, and
Oh,
because I'm like,
funny.
oh, they're a sponsor. Oh, they're a sponsor.
Sometimes it's just really obvious. It's like when Spider-Man has the Dr. Pepper can and he
Right.
has to like fling. Yeah. Okay, my favorite one of my favorite scenes. And this is going back to what a like interesting female character she is when she has to take her pants off.
Right.
And she is wearing normal pants, normal underwear that a normal person wears when it's so not sexualized.
Right.
Like she has to get her pants off. It's not about like how
It's not
she
about the male
looks.
gaze.
Right, it's not about the male gaze. In fact, when they cut to then him helping her, she has hair on her legs. I'm like, thank you, girl. Thank
Yeah.
you. You know, like she just looks like a real person.
Yeah.
And I always loved that part too. I just thought it was a cool part because it was kind of like a little bit romantic, but it just wasn't sexualized.
Right. Oh, it's awesome. Okay, Reba McEntire. How many movies has she been in?
I
And
don't
is this her
know.
first movie?
I don't know.
I know this is a random factoid about her. I know she's the voice of a dinosaur in
What?
like a Land Before Time movie.
Oh, can we do that movie?
Yeah, it is a horror because I have to watch it so many times. But Reba, and then
really?
she's had a TV show and stuff. But Reba
Yeah.
McEntire, okay, she's hilarious, and her
Yeah,
husband
she
is
is.
hilarious. And they bring new meaning to the phrase "not going down without a fight" because
Yeah.
they're hardcore.
They are so hardcore. And her husband's the one who's been in all 6 movies, by the way.
Okay, and he was the father in Family Ties.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Reba McEntire in this is another great female character. I feel like
Oh,
all
totally.
the characters in this like were so
And
good.
and they have diversity.
Yes, and that was something I actually saw when I was researching it. That in 1990 it was hailed as being diverse because there is well, there's such great female characters, but then there's the Asian shopkeeper, and they never like make fun of him or like
No.
I mean even in that time still there would be like racist things going on, and there was like a Hispanic person, and like there were people of different races in this very small town, and it seemed like a conscious choice, and apparently it was hailed at the time.
Speaking of this small town, it's such a nice setup, and the setting is great.
Mhm.
That scene when everyone had to get on their roofs, it's
Yeah.
so cool, and
Yeah.
it has such a good balance of horror and humor. It was kind of
Yeah.
refreshing. It's like, oh, we've been watching this heavy stuff, and
Yeah.
then to watch Tremors, it's like, this is great. I actually jumped from some jump scares, but then I can laugh about some silly scenes too.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear you jumped because obviously I've seen it so many times. It's like, that
And
would
it
have to
actually made
but
me go,
I'm-
woo!
Ah, that's good. Yes, I agree to all that.
Okay, and so I'm going to mention some scenes that maybe to you are like, I'm so used to it, it doesn't even stand out to me. When they have to pole vault from rock to
Yeah.
rock, it's such a great scene.
I
Like, what the
love that
heck?
scene.
And the woman comes up with it, and she's good
Yes.
at it right away.
Yeah.
And so it's not like, help me, today.
Yeah,
She
Yeah.
knows, and she comes up with it.
Uh-huh.
And she doesn't need to be saved. She actually comes up with things. As I mentioned, I was watching with my 10-year-old, and he started saying, hey, look, like she's the one who's smart.
I was going to ask you what he thought of it since
Yeah.
you were watching it with him.
And he notices things just about that. I mean, not that I've lectured him on diversity, but he'll notice. He'll say, why are all the people in this movie white?
Yeah.
For example, we were watching the original Jaws, which we'll talk about someday, but he's like, everybody's white in this movie.
Yeah,
I'm
where
like,
is this
yeah.
town?
So, that's good. And so, yeah, there's some diversity in this movie.
I wrote that cell phones would have solved a lot of problems.
Oh, I know. I think, they would have solved a lot of problems in a lot of horror movies back in the day, right?
Yeah, I know. In fact, as a horror author, I get frustrated because it's like, okay, we're back. We're good. What was I talking about?
You
I
said
don't
as a
know.
horror writer, you get frustrated.
Oh, right. Oh, with cell phones. Cell phones will kill
Oh.
horror. Like,
Oh, right.
so.
Except the book Cell by
yeah.
Stephen King.
Yeah, I know. I need to just flip it on its head. Let's see. One thing I liked is the climax is that all three of them got to be involved in the climax.
Yeah.
At the end, I thought that was cool. And like, and just the fact that the backdrop and the characters are not common for horror movies. The fact that
exactly,
these like kind of cowboy type guys, like you don't see them in horror movies.
Or if you do, they die right away, right?
Yeah. And I wrote horror romances. I just love when there's like a little bit of romance in a horror movie. Because
has there been any romance in any of the ones we've watched so far?
Let's think. The Shining is a great romance. No. I mean, Dawn of the Dead, there's a couple, but it's not a romance.
She rejects him.
Yeah.
Night of the Living Dead, no.
No. What else have we watched? Bloodhook?
No. Well, if you consider that woman who likes to work out cheating on her husband a romance, I guess.
Yeah.
Carrie, well, you like that blonde guy.
I like that. I feel like there was true love there.
Gosh.
What else?
Hey, you know what? You guys tweet us or email us some horror romances.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just not.
You talked about Warm Bodies like a while back.
Yeah.
But we haven't really gotten. But I like when there's a little bit of romance. Because, like, what's sexier than fucking Kevin Bacon, like, fighting off a graboid from you?
I never thought I'd hear that sentence in my life come from your mouth. But that's my new favorite soundbite. I'm just going to play that on loop.
Somebody make a meme of that. I also said graboid from you.
I don't even know what's going on.
I don't know. I'm burping now, though.
Okay, good.
Not the only one who burped.
Welcome to episode 8, everybody. Miller Lite, keep them coming.
Yeah. Okay. So, Tremors.
Wait. Okay, I'm gonna ask you some questions.
Oh, okay.
When's the last time you watched this movie before this rewatch?
Every time it's on TV, I like see part of it. So, I probably haven't sat down and actually watched it from like beginning to end for like maybe 10 years, but I'm like, I always catch parts of it. But
so watching it from beginning to end, did it live up to your memories of it?
Yes. I mean, I think it's a good movie. I love it. I love the humor part of it. I love horror comedies, and I just think there's so much happening, and there's the great female characters, and it's a great movie. I love it. I don't get sick of it.
Speaking of horror comedies, one of my favorite horror comedies is Shaun of the Dead. I mean, obviously, it's just...
We should do that episode. I mean, but we didn't watch it when we were kids.
No, I know. I mean, we just need to talk about it.
We just need to talk about it. You guys, if you've not seen Shaun of the Dead, like, what
I mean, it's like, it's paying homage to everything that we love. And it's us. And it's perfect. And Tim and Don are in it from the British Office.
Yeah. Tim's in it for, like, a hot second.
Yeah, but still.
Oh, my gosh. It's Shaun of the Dead. Yes, that is probably my favorite
one of
horror comedy. I love it.
Yeah, definitely. So if you like
yeah.
horror comedy, that is a place to go.
Yes.
And, you know, we love, I obviously love Army of Darkness.
Oh my gosh. Ash versus Evil Dead, you guys.
Oh, horror comedy at its finest and on TV
God,
weekly.
So
like what else? What life are we living? This is the dream.
Yeah, exactly. It's manna from heaven.
When you rewatched Tremors, did any scene stand out to you?
The pants.
Nice.
For some reason. I don't know.
That's good.
Was just something about it because it was like she was just such a human being when it happened, and it wasn't like
it wasn't.
You see it in movies usually, and it's like she's wearing lacy panties and she's like, "Oh my God, I'm Marilyn Monroe with my dress up." You know, it was just very. She was just like a real person, and I like that part.
Was there any scene or anything that you didn't remember that you saw this time and was like, "Oh"? Did Kevin Bacon's hotness?
I mean, I think that was just as hot as I remember.
So speaking of Kevin Bacon, did you like The Following? Did you watch The Following?
Oh, I watched The Following, but I gave up after a while.
Okay.
That's
good, though. Sort of horror-ish, right?
He's not hot. He's only hot in Tremors.
Oh,
I don't think
okay.
he's hot in other things. I wasn't like, oh my god, I'm gonna watch Kevin Bacon be hot in this.
No, but I feel like the following
that was a good
was
show
sort
for a
of
while.
horror-like.
Yeah, no, it was. Well, I liked it because there were like Edgar Allan Poe references, and I like that, and so I was like, I'm gonna watch it, and then, I did, but then I kind of gave up. You know how it goes.
Yeah, and it got canceled. So
yeah, so it's
sorry, following.
Yeah, sorry. I think Kevin Bacon's okay though.
How did you think the movie aged? Do you think it aged well? Do you think it's still fun to watch?
I feel like this question, is so tough because
is there a horror movie that it's like it didn't age well? It doesn't hold up anymore.
Like now that we've done this enough times, it's like I think a good movie is always a good movie.
True.
But there are movies that I think I would have an easier time showing to my kids. Like, I try to think of it that way. And I feel like Tremors, I think that one I would have an easier time than, like, Hush, Hush, Sweet Charlotte.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
as soon as you delve into black and white, it's like, when was color invented?
Yeah,
That's what I hear.
Yeah. Yeah, so I feel like this movie, I don't know, it sounds like your 10-year-old liked it.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, I feel like that's kind of how I gauge it. Is like, can kids these days appreciate it? And I think they could. So.
Put your dentures back in, Grandma.
Yeah, no kidding.
Does it pass the Bechdel test?
I said it did.
Okay.
But does it?
Well, I didn't notice.
I just wrote passes Bechdel test.
Okay.
But when?
I mean, the mother and daughter, Reba, the scientist.
I guess
there must have been conversation.
Some conversation. But I mean, it wasn't as obvious, but yeah.
Was it scary to you when you used to watch it back in the day, or was it always just kind of cool and funny?
No, I don't think I got scared. I mean, I don't remember ever being like, oh my god, is there a graboid under the earth? So no. Is that how we gauge it?
I guess.
Like, if we think it's gonna happen to us. No, I love it. It's cool and it's a great movie. And it sounds like you had some jump scares.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I wasn't,
good.
I'm not actually
Just
scared of it, but
I'm
terrified you guys.
Yeah, she's going back now, but you should have seen her.
It's so scary. We're going to be talking about something that is hot right now in the world of horror, and it's a game called Five Nights at Freddy's.
So, pretty much, in the first game, you're playing as a night guard named Mike Schmidt, and as the game implies, you have to survive 5 nights in a security office. And it is pretty much taking everything from other horror games and pretty much throwing it out the window, because in all the other horror games, pretty much you're walking around to get scared. In this game, you are actually sitting in an office, unable to move around, other than looking at the 2 doors and the cameras. And you have to prevent the animatronics, Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, and Golden Freddy, to get to you, because then they kill you and stuff you in a Freddy Fazbear suit. And in the second game, it's pretty much the same, but with more animatronics and no doors. And there's 2 vents and the main hall. Third game takes place in the future, which is now the present for us. And there's the door, the vent, and a window. In the fourth game, it's a bedroom, the 2 doors, the bed, and the closet. In the fifth game, also known as Sister Location, is the first one where you actually get to move around the location, from doing maintenance work to... There's also mini games in it. One mini game, which unlocks one of the endings if you complete it, the special ending to it. Yeah, so...
Now, there's 5 games right now?
Yes, at the moment. Plus his game FNAF World, where people were not expecting what it was. They were expecting actually a horror game. This one was kind of like a 2D kind of RPG kind of thing.
Okay. No, I know there's one Five Nights at Freddy's book out currently, and the author is the creator. What's his name? Scott.
Cawthon.
And he's got another book coming out this summer, right?
Yes.
So potentially Blumhouse Pictures will be making this into a feature-length film released in summer of 2018. What do you think? Do you think it's going to be scary enough if it's PG-13?
I think so. I think Scott can pull it off with the company he's working with. I think he'll be able to pull it off.
Okay, awesome. Do you think it's scary? Do you think it's cool? Do you think it's interesting that there's all this backstory? What do you like about it?
I like the backstory a lot.
So there's this creator of Five Nights at Freddy. His name is Scott Cawthon.
Yes, Cawthon.
Cawthon. And he tweeted on March 28th of this year a little tease, and it's just a picture of Blumhouse Productions and then a Freddy chair. And so this is implying that since MGM gave up the rights to the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, that perhaps Blumhouse is going to be making it now. If you're familiar with them, they are producers and the company that has made some of our favorite movies of the past couple of years, horror-wise. Get Out from this year was absolutely excellent. The Visit, the M. Night Shyamalan movie, Oculus. Campbell, you like that one, right?
Yeah.
The Gallows, Paranormal Activity movies, also Hush, which I highly recommend, and the Ouija movie, all sorts of great horror movies. So potentially this movie could be quite good and quite scary. Next up, we have our fast forward segment, and we are going from a monster beneath to a monster within.
Oh, I'm excited to hear what this is. I don't know what it's going to be.
So we were just talking about Tremors, and now I'm going to talk to you about a movie that is a Shudder exclusive, Prevenge.
Oh, okay, good. I haven't watched this yet.
So this is a 2017 movie. It's got a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's
Holy
a horror
shit.
comedy, which also ties in with Tremors.
Nice tie. I like it.
It's also a horror comedy. And okay, so you're going to love this fact.
Okay.
It is written, directed, and starring Alice Lowe.
Oh, awesome.
So this woman
I love that.
wrote this movie. She directed it. She stars in it all while she was pregnant in real life.
Oh, she's really pregnant.
She was really pregnant.
Oh my
They filmed it within
God.
2 weeks. She was actually pregnant, and her character is pregnant.
I couldn't do anything when I was pregnant.
Yeah.
I couldn't get up the stairs when I was pregnant. Can you imagine?
I know. Okay, and so I'm not giving anything away because it's the plot, but I mean, this is just a detail. She's going around killing people. She's getting revenge, okay? That's all you need to know. But she's going around killing people while pregnant, and she actually filmed it while pregnant, so it's completely realistic if she could actually do it.
Oh my god!
And it's so good, and it's like Tremors. It has that good balance of horror and comedy. Mm-hmm. And then I didn't know she was really pregnant while I was watching it, and then when I read it afterwards and thought about it, I'm like, holy crap, that was awesome.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
She compares pregnancy to a hostage takeover. And although extreme, I think a lot of women could relate to that. Feeling like your body's not your own. There's this alien creature inside of you, and everything
relate it to Alien.
Yeah. Everything that you're doing is for this other being, this other creature, this other person inside of you, and it ties in really nicely with. I mean, there's stories here about prepartum and partum depression and anxiety about motherhood, and the plot just ties in so well to the pregnancy. And
I'm excited to watch this.
Is so good. I highly recommend it. If you haven't subscribed to Shudder yet, please do. And like we mentioned before, there's a free trial, so you can totally decide if it's for you or not. But I think you're going to decide it is, because it's a low monthly rate, and
we're not getting kickbacks on this.
Yeah.
We're just telling you because it's awesome.
Because we love it and we're horror fans. But Shudder, if you want to give us
Yeah, we
kickback,
will
we'll
accept
take it.
kickbacks.
But it's so good. So it's called Prevenge.
Oh my gosh, I'm
And
excited to
it's-
watch it.
yeah,
Is
it's
it
brand new.
American movie?
It's British.
Oh, a British movie.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
And she's got a great British accent. I mean, obviously, but I could listen to British accents all day.
Oh my gosh, I know. You know, it's interesting talking about that because I was just thinking about Tremors is such an American movie.
It's like, yeah.
The place and the characters. It's so American, you
Yeah.
know?
And that comedy, I mean, this is a creature invading this small town, and
Mm-hmm.
then this horror comedy, it's the horror of, I won't give everything away, but it's done in a comedic
Is the
way.
comedy like kind of absurdity?
A little bit-
'cause it's
a little
almost
bit absurd. Yeah.
Thinking about this huge pregnant, I say huge just because she looks like she's about to blow on the
Right.
poster, and that's how I felt when I was pregnant.
Yeah.
I felt like I couldn't do anything. That's how I
know.
felt.
Well, and so I was watching this movie and I didn't know she was really pregnant. But as I was watching, there's this scene, you just see her from behind walking down the sidewalk, and I'm like, oh, she's really got that waddle down. And it turns out that was really her
It's
walking because she
she's-
was actually pregnant.
So I'd like to know, like, did she get pregnant on purpose,
or did she come up
or
with
did
the
she come
plot
up
like
with it
while
at-
pregnant?
Yeah, because I mean that's crazy.
I know,
That's pretty cool.
It's a very cool movie, so watch it, you guys. We have some fun things coming up in our next episode or so. We're gonna have a special Paris episode. We're gonna focus on 2 movies that are made in Paris. Actually, this isn't. It'll be premiering next week. An American Werewolf in Paris, and then also a new movie. If you didn't get to see it in the theater, it's now available to purchase. It's called Raw. Do you like the buzz when you hear that theater goers like had to like be left out, or they had to
Yes.
get like
When
barf bags?
When I hear that like they needed barf bags, or I think they said they were handing out barf bags.
yeah, or people passed out.
I'm like, yes, please.
I'll watch
I
it.
want to see it. Like, it's just that human nature. I just want to.
Yeah.
I just want to see it.
And
Yes.
I'm not opposed to gore. I'm not like, oh, gore is so gross, but I'm also not like, oh, that's the kind of horror I like. I just like gore. I guess I like a balance of it. So I'm excited to talk about it next week.
Yeah, we haven't watched it yet, so it'll be interesting. And I like gore, but I like all types.
Yeah.
I like gore if it's done well.
Yeah.
Actually, I'd probably like gore all the time. It's not done well.
That challenge accepted. Somebody
Yeah.
send Meg a link to gore not done well. I'll be afraid. I will regret saying that, right?
Yeah, no kidding. Not real. Don't send real.
Just horror movie gore.
Yeah. Have you realized that we named this podcast Horror Rewind, and horror is such a hard word to say?
Yeah, it is. Horror.
Horror. Like, I think we could call it. Should we just start doing musicals? I feel like that's easier to say.
Musical rewind.
All right.
Oh, speaking of horror musicals,
Yeah.
Evil Dead the musical and Carrie the musical exist, and they're
Yeah.
horror movies and they're horror
So-
musicals.
So there. Weren't we going to revive Carrie the musical?
Yeah,
feel
I think we
that's what
should.
said.
We've been playing it on our Anchor station, so listen sometime, you guys. It's really good.
Yeah. I did want to mention too that we do have a Patreon, so visit our Patreon, and we have a YouTube channel, and we're on Facebook, and we're on Instagram, and we're in your nightmares.
We're everywhere.
And yeah, we try to be everywhere at once, like a graboid.
Okay, so we need to rate.
Oh, I forget that every time I started doing the other shit because I forget the rating.
We need to rate Tremors
Kelly
and then
remembers.
Prevenge
Okay.
on a scale of 0 to 10, and we're going to use graboids because that's such a great word.
Yeah.
And how can you not? So out of 0 to 10 graboids, what would you rate Tremors?
Well, I really like it. It's a good movie, but it's not as good as some of the other ones. So I'm gonna give it 7 graboids.
Okay, and I would give it a 6.
Okay.
And I still enjoyed it, so don't take it as, well, I'm not going to watch it now.
But we're comparing to The Shining.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, guys.
And how about Prevenge? I know you haven't seen it yet, but my excitement over it, or your anticipation of watching it, could you rate it?
I'm gonna say I am giving it 8 graboids because I can't believe she's actually pregnant.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Did you say she directed it?
She directed it, wrote it, and she's starring in it.
Can you imagine? Like, I was such a fucking whiny baby when I was pregnant.
This woman is amazing, and you're gonna love her. And
Okay, I'm excited.
audience listeners, you're gonna love Alice Lowe. I can't wait to see what she does next because this was amazing. She's like a superhero. I am giving Alice Lowe an 11.
Whoa.
For
Spinal Tap.
yeah, for doing all of this while pregnant. I mean, amazing. I'm giving the movie an 8. I really enjoyed it.
Cool.
I liked it a lot. I recommend it, and I think it's very unique. I haven't seen something exactly like it in a long time, or if ever. And oh, Meg, I'm so excited for you to watch it. You have to watch it and tell me what you think.
I will. I promise.
Okay, everybody, we cannot wait to talk to you next week in our special Paris episode. Until then,
Au revoir, and I'll see you in the horror section.